Nintendo Switch accessories. Now, this is probably the perfect video to follow up my previous video on the Nintendo Wii's accessories, because as it turns out, there are also a lot of accessories for the Nintendo Switch. When researching this video, I was genuinely shocked at the sheer scale of Switch accessories. I haven't done the numbers on it, and I really don't plan to, because that would involve countless hours of just tallying up pointless accessories for two consoles, but I firmly believe that the Switch may have just as many, if not more, accessories than the Nintendo Wii, and that's kind of slid under the radar. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that, but I can confirm that the Switch is an accessory magnet just like the Nintendo Wii. So in today's video, I have picked out some of the most popular and most common Switch accessories out there, and what we're going to do is we're going to rank them into one of three categories. They will either go into the good, the bad, or the ugly. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly thank everyone for the recent support on the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Quite a few of my recent uploads have been doing quite well in the algorithm, and that is all thanks to you lovely viewers. So if you're watching this video and you're enjoying it, feel free to give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you've got anything interesting to say, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into this. The JoyCon Grip. This accessory is bundled into every Nintendo Switch console, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to combine your two Joy-Cons into one succinct controller. And look, I can't lie, that's a pretty great feature. This accessory truly allows the Joy-Cons to do pretty much everything you need them to do. They can act as motion control Wiimotes, they can act as singular controllers for two-player gaming experiences, and with this accessory, you can combine your two Joy-Cons together to have pretty much an identical button layout and form factor to a traditional controller. However, the JoyCon Grip has a pretty major flaw in that it does not charge the Joy-Con controllers, which seems like a really weird feature to leave out. And I'm just gonna give a bit of a spoiler here, but the next accessory on this list kind of fixes that issue and makes this accessory here pretty redundant. So for that reason, the JoyCon Grip is going in the bad. The JoyCon Charging Grip. Yep, it's a JoyCon Grip with that one missing feature added to it, so yeah. And as I just mentioned, this accessory in of itself is also pretty awesome for the functionality it gives to the JoyCon controllers. So for that reason, the JoyCon Charging Grip is going in the good. The JoyCon Wheels. These have pretty much the exact same purpose and functionality as the Wii wheel. However, they are a little bit different. And the main difference is they are a little bit smaller than the Wii wheel, and I guess that's because the Joy-Cons themselves are smaller than the Wii remote, so you don't really need a massive wheel to go along with these. However, other than that, they're pretty much identical, and as I said in the Wii accessories video, this accessory, whilst providing no real additional functionality to the controllers, is actually really good because it just makes the controller so much more comfortable to hold when you're using them to steer in a racing game like Mario Kart. And I think that is actually even more important in the case of the Nintendo Switch because the Joy-Cons are just so tiny, so when you're using one of these as just a single controller, I find that they're just really small and uncomfortable to hold, so having the Joy-Con wheels here is actually a major help for that as well. So for that reason, the JoyCon wheels are going in the good. The Nintendo Switch charging stand. God, this has got to be one of the most boring accessories ever, but nonetheless, I guess I'll talk about it. So, as the name suggests, this is a stand for the Nintendo Switch that also happens to charge your console, and I guess in a lot of ways it's kind of practical, and the reason for that is because the charging port on the Switch itself for some reason was put on the bottom, so if you are using this in a tabletop mode, you actually cannot charge it while doing that, so I guess guess it kind of fills a purpose there, but I don't know. Me personally, I don't think I'd ever have a reason to use this because I'm never using my Switch for such a long period of time to where I'd need to use a charging stand rather than the Switch dock itself. And the fact it has a stand isn't really adding much because the Switch itself already has a stand. So this accessory fills one very, very specific niche that I don't think a lot of people out there will ever really need to worry about. So for that reason, the Nintendo Switch charging stand is going in the ugly. The Nintendo Switch leg strap. So this is pretty much just a little thingo that you can put your Joy-Con into and strap it onto your body so that you can use actual body movements to register controls in video games on the Switch. And I know that this thing is compatible with a few other games than just Nintendo Switch Sports, but I've only ever used this with Switch Sports as it came bundled in with my copy of it, and I gave it a try, but it is just the most pointless accessory in the whole entire world. There is absolutely no value in controlling Switch Sports using the leg strap versus just holding the Joy-Con. I think it's just annoying. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, and I'm just far more comfortable and coordinated holding the Joy-Con rather than having it strapped to my body. So I think this is just a super cheap, pointless Switch accessory, and for that reason, it is going in the ugly. The Duck Rifle. This accessory comes alongside the Duck Quack Shoot game for the Nintendo Switch, and let's be real here. This is pretty much just a reskinned Wii Zapper with a duck skin on it. And if you saw my last video on the Wii accessories, you may remember that I put the Wii Zapper in the ugly because I said it was pointless and stupid. However, I just look at this and I have a completely different outlook. I think having a Wii accessory that is a gun with a duck's face on the barrel is pretty damn awesome. And even if it doesn't add any better control to the game it was made for, it's still a gun with a duck's head on it. And for that reason, I simply have to put it in the good. No questions asked. The Mario Kart Racing Wheel Pro Mini. This is a really cool idea for a Switch accessory. It's just a racing wheel designed for Mario Kart, and I love the idea of this. And the reason for this is it just simply allows for a more immersive experience with pretty much any racing game for the Nintendo Switch. However, there are two Mario Kart racing wheels out there, and this is the cheaper of the two, so there are quite a few compromises here that make this accessory not as good as it could be. For example, it is held onto the surface by suction caps on the bottom of the device, and I've used this thing a few times, and I'm a pretty aggressive steerer of the wheel, so when I'm doing a sharp turn in Mario Kart, I tend to actually just lift off the whole wheel from the surface when I'm using this one, which is not fantastic. And as well as that, the actual plastic and design of this build is pretty fragile, and for lack of a better term, it feels kind of cheap. So whilst this is a really cool idea for an accessory for the Nintendo Switch, it's just not good enough to actually use over other methods of control. So for that reason, the Mario Kart Racing Wheel Pro Mini is going in the bad. The Mario Kart Racing Wheel Pro Deluxe. Remember everything I just said about the other wheel? This is pretty much the exact same as that wheel, but a far more premium build. The main improvements of this wheel is that it actually has a clamp that you can use to attach it to a surface so you won't rip it off the table when you're turning like I do, and it's made with far more premium materials that feel really damn nice. Alongside this, it's got paddles on it as well, which honestly just makes you feel like you're an F1 driver when you're playing Mario Kart, which is pretty cool. And it has really smart placement of the ZL and ZR buttons, which are actually attached to the wheel itself, which is a great idea. They're very convenient to press up there. So taking all of that into account, this is pretty much the perfect racing wheel for Mario Kart. And for that reason, the Mario Kart Racing Wheel Pro Deluxe is going in the good. The Ringcon. This is pretty much the Wii balance board equivalent of an accessory for the Nintendo Switch because it adds a completely brand new and unique way of controlling video games. And I'm not entirely sure how the technology in the Ringcon works, but essentially what it allows you to do is it allows you to pull, push, flip and do other various movements that translate to in-game movement. And this came alongside the Ring Fit adventure game. I'll have some gameplay on the screen that will kind of show you how this works better than I could ever explain it using words. But I'm a massive fan of accessories like this because I think adding brand new ways to control games like this is just such a cool idea. Like, how did someone come up with this? It doesn't seem like the most straightforward video game control idea, but when you're actually using one of these things, I think it's gimmicky, but it's so cool to the point that the gimmick is completely worth it. So for those reasons, the Ringcon is going in the good. Nintendo Switch charging docks. Now, I just found this one online, but there are numerous different brands that have made Switch charging docks, and they're all pretty much the same. Like, there's a few differences between each one, but overall, they all have the same purpose. It's just a one-stop hub for charging things. So the typical Switch dock can allow you to charge your Switch, and usually up to 4 JoyCon controllers alongside it. And whilst it's kind of practical in the sense that it's nice to be able to charge everything at once, I think it just looks a little bit gross. Like, I would completely 100% prefer to have my Switch in the standard dock versus one of these things, because it just looks so weird. And how often is anyone ever gonna need to have 6 Joy-Cons charged at the same time anyways? It seems like similarly to the charging stand, this feels a very, very small niche, and also just makes your Switch look uglier in the process as well. So for those reasons, I'm putting Switch charging docks in the ugly. Switch Sports Accessories. I'm bundling all of these into the one category because they all pretty much serve the same purpose, and I also found there's quite a few third-party companies that have produced these, so there are a few variations to these accessories out there, but nonetheless, the one I've got on screen here seems to be one of the most popular Switch Sports accessory bundles out there, so I'll just include this in here. But pretty much what these allow you to do is they allow you to have an extension to your Joy-Con controller that essentially just mimic the equipment of the sport that you're playing. So as you can see there, you've got tennis rackets, you've got golf clubs, you've got swords as well. And similarly to the JoyCon wheels, I think these are actually pretty cool because they allow the Joy-Con to be more comfortable to hold, which I do feel like is one of the biggest negatives to the Joy-Con. Those things are just too small. So any accessory that acts to increase the size of the controller is pretty damn good in my opinion. So for those reasons, Switch Sports accessories are going in the good. The Pokeball Plus controller. This accessory was designed to be an alternative method of control for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to throw the Pokeball accessory out as a method of catching Pokemon. And look guys, I'm gonna own up here, I have never used this accessory. It looks kinda cool, but also kind of pointless to me. So for that reason, the Pokeball Plus is going in the bad. And yeah, that wraps up this video. I know for a fact that I did not cover every Switch accessory on this video, but I do hope I at least covered the main ones. If there turns out to be a lot of accessories that I missed, I'll probably just end up making a part 2 to this video to cover those off. So if you know of any that I missed, feel free to comment them down below, and I'll probably make another video on this if there are enough there. But for now, that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.